Hello everyone, Zach here. So let's look into Bitcoin. Let's start with the basics first and go to the daily time frame and see what's going on. So in my last video, we were looking at the downward pull from this high. So we started a downtrend on daily time frame, and when I recorded the video, we were somewhere around here. So we had this high, then this slower low, lower high. I think we can consider this as lower low, lower high. This is the lower low, and then we are looking for a lower high, potentially a lower high, and then we will see what happens. Like once we get to this area, we can whether we form a higher low to break this higher, or we go and create a lower low and continue this downtrend. That we have to see what happens after this. So far, from market structure perspective, there is no change actually. We are still in this downtrend. And as long as we are in a downtrend, the possibilities of moving further down are greater than going higher, unless something changes, of course. So that's what we are looking for now. What happens here when the price interacts with this zone, or I'm not saying with 100% guarantee that it will interact with this zone, but yeah, if it does interact with this zone, we want to see what happens after that. So far, yeah, so we had this huge candle drop, and then we have been trading inside this candle itself. So yeah, so we cannot draw any conclusions whether it is bullish or bearish. Based on just from the market structure, we cannot see anything yet. Okay, now this area that I have highlighted here is also important from some other perspectives as well. Let me go here. So this is a Bingo chart, which I don't usually use for putting the volume levels because it's a newer exchange, not many users are there. So I either use Coinbase or I use Bybit, which have good volume, and then the volume levels derived from these exchanges are pretty good and well respected. So I have pulled this volume profile for this entire range that you see over here, and right around this zone that I was highlighting here, we have value area low of this entire range, as well as, so this is 382, the downward fit pull from this high to this low. So when we have a very steep retracement or a very strong downtrend, we make the shallowest of retracement, and then so if we go higher, I expect a rejection from here, from the fit perspective, as well as having very low confluent with the fib itself. You can see like so here we lost, so you can see here we lost the value area. When we were over here, when we lost the value area, this area became an area of rejection. Okay, you can see we had like, we tested it once, came down, then we tested it twice, then came down. So 3 times it acted as resistance before finally breaking it upwards. Yeah, so I'm watching for how the price will interact when it gets to this zone. You can see we had really bullish move up from here, and then we tested it, and then we held certain level, and then finally broke bullish. So it's possible we can do something similar. We can go up, test this, reject hard, come back down, and then keep holding the levels here over here, and therefore ultimately breaking bullish. So it is totally possible. But as you can see, this reclaim, this move up from this low, is not the same as this move up from this low. Okay. It looks a lot weaker compared to what we saw over here at 57k, 56k route. This was a very strong reclaim. So that's why we had this, like, even though we rejected from the value area low, we held, and then we finally broke bullish. For now, I don't see that happening with this. It's price action, anything can happen, but we're talking about what is the high probability play here? The high probability play is that we come up and test this and then reject. Okay, and then this also becomes an area for a swing short. Okay, that's what I will be looking to get into a short around this zone. That would be my setup to look to short this area whenever we come and test this. Let's look at it from another perspective. Let me bring up the CVD and volume profile. So this is what happened when we dropped. Okay, so you see when we dropped and came around 58k, you can see there was a huge drop in open interest over here. So this drop in open interest means there were a lot of liquidations. Since the price was dropping, it means longs were getting liquidated. And yeah, so there was a lot of long liquidation happening, and that's why we got this move up. But what I don't like about this move up is, so you can see we are moving up, CVD is dropping. That means there are more sellers in this area, more market sellers in this area than buyers. That is why the slope of CVD is downwards. But still we are moving up. What this means is, on every drop that we see, somebody is putting limit orders. That is driving the price higher. That's what causing the price to move up despite CVD being bearish. Means, so CVD only tracks the market order, not the limit order. So this is what is happening with the market order. There are more people selling in this area than buying. But still price is moving up, because that can only happen if somebody is putting limit orders to push the price higher. Okay. So that is a bullish thing locally. But what I don't like is this open interest. I mean, this looks flat. What this means is, like, there is not much interest for people to trade this zone, to long this uptrend, long this bounce that we had over here. There is not much interest from the traders to long this bounce. So yeah, so it's totally possible we can basically test that area that I was showing you earlier and then reject heavily from there and then break the low, or at least come and test this low. Okay, so as I was saying, there are some people who are longing, limit longing on every retracement. So it's possible they might have placed limit orders around this zone and then push the price up. Okay, that can happen. But yeah, this does not look really bullish as of now. Okay, so that's covered from the perspective of CVD and open interest. Now let's look at this chart from a different angle. The chart that I posted earlier in the Discord group. Well, these are some of the trend lines that I have created, which are like 45 degrees and 2-degree trend lines from important intersection in price and time. I posted the chart earlier which did not have this line. This is a new line that I put here, which is basically an intersection of this price, this time that we created a low over here. So this is an important low. And then, so we got the time from here, I got the price from here, and then I created an intersection. And from here, I drew a 45-degree angle. When there was no price over here, this would have seemed like a line in middle of nowhere. But you can see clearly price is interacting with this line. As we are moving up, after losing this line bearishly, we are not able to get above this line. We are basically rejecting from this line. So that is not good. So that is bearish. Okay, unless and until we at least get above this and then potentially above this line. So this is a 45-degree angle from this high. See the 45-degree angle. from this high, unless we are able to reclaim or get above this line sometime in future, it's not possible to be bullish. Okay, we will continue this trajectory downwards. And you can see I have marked this date over here, 28th and 29th of June. What I'm hoping is we continue this move up, this slow grind up, okay, and then meet somewhere around here. So here we have this intersection between time and price. Intersection between these two angles, this 45-degree angle and this 45-degree angle. And as I've explained earlier, these intersections are pivots in price. You can see here we had bottomed, this intersection we had bottom and got a move up. This intersection we had bottomed and then got a move up. Similarly, these are pivots that I'm looking for where we can see interesting price action or kind of a large move on those dates. So looking at how we bounced off this trend line, this 45-degree angle, I am hoping that we can get and test this area by 28th, that is Friday. Get a move up into this area by Friday, and then once we are able to test this area, which is the same area that I was highlighting over here, get a strong move down, get a rejection and a strong move down. That would be in line with what's been happening over here. We are basically trending below this 45-degree angle. Temporarily reclaim this and then drop. Now, what would happen after we drop? What are the options? Let's say, I'm not saying there is a guarantee that we will go up and test this, but yeah, let's say we go up and test this and then lose this trend line, close below this trend line. The next area, the logical area to drop, to go top along this trend line that we have over here. And okay, so if we get a strong rejection, we can possibly top somewhere around here. So this is the next pivot, the 4th of July, the holiday in US. So I don't think we will get there on 4th of July, maybe 5th of July. And possibly find a bottom here. And this is the 56K bottom that we found over here. And if we are able to get SFP of this area, the hopes and SFP of this low, and then finally are able to close above this low, like we test this one and then close back up with an SFP. That would be really bullish, because by that time what we would have is we'll likely have some kind of bullish divergence happening on daily time frame. Okay. And that's what I am looking for, to find a bottom here. Basically, if we get an SFP of this low and then close above this low and followed by a bullish divergence, that would be really good indication that bottom might be end. Okay, but it can play out in a slightly different manner as well. For example, go up and then we don't reject hard, we reject like this, only small rejection. We come back to this area where we are putting the red candle here, find out, and then just rest on this line, 61K. Okay, and so this would be our 5th of July or 4th of July bottom, and then we move up again, and this is where we reject. This is where we create a top, a lower top compared to this one. And this area is also a very important area. I'll show you, because look what we have over here. We have the macro POC, the POC of this entire range. So we would be testing the POC. So if this plays out like this, that we go up into 29th of July and then start dropping and then bottom out around 60 or 61K, and then get another move up to by 10th of July, this would be another rejection that we will see over here because of this trend line that we lost. So you can see this is a 45-degree angle from this bottom and this bottom, and this 45-degree angle from this bottom actually caught the bottom over here, and we have lost it. So now they are resistant. So whenever we go up here, we are bound to get a rejection. Not only because of this trend line, because of the POC, which I have seen happen number of times. You can see whenever we interact with this trend, this POC, after losing it, we get a massive rejection. So this is another scenario which I'm watching, where we can drop, where we don't get a very strong rejection and move up, but get a strong rejection from here. Okay, because it's a POC and as well as this particular 45-degree angle. Also, you can see this white line that you see over here. This is a 22-degree angle from this high. So there is a lot of resistance going on. So that's why in my previous video I said I see a lot of chalk. So if we are to find a bottom here, there is going to be a lot of fight in this zone to fish for a bottom. And then once we get a rejection, the next pivot that I see is 23rd of July. You can see this is a little triangle action that is going on over here. So possible from 22nd of July to 26th of July, we will keep dropping and possibly find a bottom here. If we come down hard and then lose this, possibly stop here. I'm not saying you'll find a bottom here, possibly stop here. So this is only in case we get a very strong rejection, okay? Now, it's also possible that we get a minor reaction from here, like from 66K POC. After creating this low, we create a higher low, and then we get a move up from there and then finally break this. So once we are above this trend line, 22-degree trend line, at that time it's possible that after some time, we finally break this to the upside. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done in this area to find a bottom. I am overall still bullish, whether we come here or come here, or we tap this and then SFP this. Okay. Overall, I am looking for a nice move up in later part of the year, maybe August or September time frame, and go towards the new highs. So that's what I meant by finding the sweet spot when I posted in Discord. Right now we are in middle of nowhere. We don't know whether this low will hold. We have to wait and see what happens. Okay, there are some alts which are looking bullish compared to Bitcoin. So it's possible we can start because they are already at their cycle low, so we can start BCing into them. But if we want to wait for Bitcoin to bottom, we need to wait another at least, I think, 2 to 3 weeks. We need to see what happens over here, and then possibly get into ours. So that would be a much safer approach, according to me. Okay, that's what I see from Gann's perspective. Now let's quickly see. Yeah, I was just looking at this chart and I was eyeballing certain things. I just wanted to show you guys. I almost forgot about this. So looking at this previous cycle and the current cycle, so you can see we have like pretty similar price action and the dates going on. So you see this is the top that we found here around 13th of April, and this is the top 9th of April that created this bottom. This top created this bottom, and then we found the bottom over here around 21st of June, and then we have found our first bottom on 24th of June. Then we found our next bottom on 21st of July that actually caused this move up. And here I showed you, we have this state over here, intersection, 22nd of July. Yeah, so something to be aware of. There is definitely a possibility we can come back down and then create another low before moving up higher. Another thing I noticed is the price is basically doubling. So we have this, we had from 15K, we doubled to 30K, then we created a bottom around 25K, and doubled to 50K, created a bottom around 38K, doubled to almost the 76K area. Okay. Now we are looking for the bottom. So whether it's like 55, 56K or it is 50K bottom. I'm expecting whenever we find a bottom and this trend continues, we are looking at doubling the price that we bottom out here again. So if it is like 50K or 55K, we're looking at 100K. Okay. So if this trend continues, we're looking at 100K or 110K. And why I have highlighted the elections here, because I noticed another thing is, so from this bottom to this high, it took around 246 bars. From this high to this high that we found over here, it again took 246 bars. Okay. And then, so if we just take a measured move from this top to this top to 246 days in future, we get to November this year, and in November we have elections. Okay, we have an important date in elections. And what's also interesting about this date is, so this falls on 15th of November, and look at what we had in where we topped out in 2021 cycle, 12th of November. So yeah, so there are a lot of similarities. So there is no reason to be bearish. Yeah, there is some bearish price action going on here right now, but ultimately I'm looking for loading up alts whenever we do find the bottom. For now, it does not look like this is bullish move up. We can definitely still come down, okay, to test this low at 56K. Yeah, losing this low on a weekly time frame. Like, let's say we close below this 1 weekly time frame, that would be really bearish, in my opinion, which I don't want. Basically, if we close below this 1 weekly time frame, I think that is, in that case, we will not be stopping in this zone. It will come a lot lower, like maybe 42K or something. Even then, even if it come down to 42K, it would only mean that it might take much more time to go to the new highs. It does not mean that Bitcoin is over. But yeah, that's the reason for me to still stop and wait for more confirmations that tell me that, yeah, I mean, we have found the bottom and we are good to invest in alts. Because alts are going to give us, this time, after we found the bottom, on the next rally, alts are going to give us nice returns. So yeah, so that's all I think about Bitcoin and my timing about when I'm trying to invest into alts. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the Discord. Thank you, everyone.